Apologies for the lack of talking during qualifying, but in case you missed it, pole position did go to Luca Townsend, with second going to Ryan Powell. Third went to Jack Braley, fourth was Phil Garside, and fifth was Brandon Roos, who is the highest of the ballast carriers. Obviously Luca in first, he's probably the sure bet to win the race at the moment. Can't really see anyone challenging him. He set a quality time of 1:52.2. I think it's all going down to really that battle at the front between Luca and Ryan. Be interesting to see what Brandon can do from fifth. He is obviously carrying that ballast, which will affect his acceleration slightly. But you sometimes can find that with the Chevrolets it actually helps them a little bit because it calms them down and doesn't give them so much understeer. So it's, you know, swings and roundabouts, see how it works out. But all in all, interesting to see how it goes. Again, do apologise for no communication during the qualifying itself. Had a bit of a technical issue, and the way it will go sometimes. Did see at one point some of the control batteries did go low, so I'm now wired, which is not what I need. Yeah, this will be round 16 from Catalunya. Obviously at the halfway point, you can see what the standings have been. See Ashley Field sat in first, second place currently is Brandon Roos, and third is Callum Kirkpatrick. So they of course are the ballast carriers, as you will have noticed. That BMW carrying that ballast might give it a bit of a calm down, shall we say, through the start of the race, which is generally the kind of bonus that car has. You know, the launch and its acceleration out of the corners. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Unfortunately, with the fact that I've now got a wired controller, it does mean that I can't quite be as up and active during the race as I am normally. So try and keep the energy levels going and keep the stream fun for you all, but you know how it goes. Obviously, as always, do feel free to message in chat. Let me know if you want me to follow a certain driver, see how a certain battle is going on, anything, do let me know. For the most part, I'm going to try and keep it on the parts where the actual battles are going on. Will do, Ali. Chill, do it for Forza Monthly, of course. So here we go. Double check this is the grid, but quite a full lobby, shall we say. 22 drivers, top 20 will score. So 2 drivers will be missing out, but obviously when it comes to the Independence Championship, if it's the top 12 independents score in total, so pretty much everyone should score points for their respective championships in this one. That's just a mistake of where one or two of the cars were. As you can see, just an issue of Forza sometimes, but we're all doing it all manual grid as well actually, so I think that was an admin issue, but yeah, it happens. So yeah, you can see row 1 is going to be Luca Townsend and Ryan Powell, row 2 Jack Brady and Phil Garside. So Luca Townsend starts with cars, lead him off. He's missed the 1 week, and that did let him down a little bit in the championship, but he's sat in a good position in 4th place in the standings currently, so keeping away from that ballast. And you know, I don't think Luca's going to be missing anything else now the rest of the season, so it's going to be just a fight for him now for the rest of it. He definitely did, you know, put some good performances in to keep himself in the fight. And obviously behind him, as I said, Ryan Powell, currently sat 6th in the championship, 254. He's definitely still in the fight. It's only 38 points between himself and first, so he's not at all out of it. He just needs to get some good results under his belt, maybe get a couple more podiums. He's only had the 3 so far this season, compared to Luca Townsend, who's had 6. So, but we know Ryan's definitely got pace in that car. First season in the Audi, been in the Merc a few times, and Chevrolet a few times, and now obviously you can see in the Audi S3. Going back to the grid, Jack Brady now upgraded to the full-time drive as of 2 weeks ago. So he's no longer racing as a cover for his team. Phil Garside 4th, 5th, Brandon Roos, first ballast carrier, sat there in 2nd, 290 points. James Allen, after a couple of weeks off, has come back in, immediately put himself in 6th on the track, so decent qualifying for him. Then Ashley Field, our current championship leader. Ali Johnston in 8th, then Jake Ewan, or Ewan. I've been told I keep saying that name wrong, but I can't seem to get it right in my head, so I do apologise. Then you've got Robert Newman, Callum Kirkpatrick, Connor Ambrose, Andrew Lawrence, Mark Ruddock with a decent 14th place in that one. Then you've got Ben Berenson, I believe that's supposed to be Nathan Rutherford and Carl Cully in 16th and 17th, but I think one just shot off a bit wide to dirty his lap. 18th for Kieran McKeldin, 19th for Declan Evans, 20th is Shane Bellotti, 21st is Duncan Prime, and bringing up the rear is Stephen Cumming. So, yeah, we'll stick with Luca, get to see what his start is going to be like. Obviously we do expect that Chevrolet to get a decent getaway, probably hold on to position in turn 1. But it is a long run down, so longest run down out of the races here at Touring Cars for what is turn 1. Really not a fan of the starting camera view here at Catalunya. Part of me is really tempted to switch that up and see if I can view from the view of Luca, but might see if I can do a rear-facing view of him actually, because that is a terrible camera view. So let's do that. Just going to keep my thumb on the right stick. Let's look backwards at the rest of the grid as they all line up. You can see to his right, well, obviously to our right, but will be his left, is Ryan Powell, directly behind Jack Brady. You can see Ali Johnston got an angle on his Chevrolet pointing it right at Luke Townsend, so he's definitely aiming to get a drive on that TCR in front of him. There we go, can hear the revs climbing. We are green for race 16, and that's a quality start for Luca Townsend, a 4-star for Ryan Powell. He's already been overtaken by Phil Garside and going down into turn 1. Looks like Luca's definitely going to hold on to that one. It appears Ryan's dropping down to 5th by turn 1. Luca going through, a little bit of a twitch, but it looks like he's going to hold on position. Behind him, looks like everyone is getting through the pack safely. Can't see, it looks completely safe actually. It looks like everyone's got through, but Luca Townsend and Jack Brady have got right at the front. Third behind them, Phil Garcia is heading this train, which has got Ryan Powell sat in 4th after a poor start. That Audi we all know hasn't got the greatest launches on that one. So switch back to Ryan, see what he's doing in this pack. They're all bunched up going through turn 4, which is Repsol coming through Sayat now. Ali Johnson diving to the inside, that's a decent move, Ryan, very opportunistic. You can see Ashley Field alongside Brandon Roos behind them. Callum Kirkpatrick just stuck in behind us. Good drive out of the corner actually, gives Ryan Powell keeping the position away from Ali Johnson, so good holding on to position from him. Further down the grid, looks like everyone's getting through safely. One car looks like it's gone off wide. That is Duncan Prime, that's unfortunate to see. We'll stick with this with Ryan Powell, sat in 4th place, currently going to hold off the attack from Ali Johnson. Makes a dive for the inside. Is he going to get him under braking? He's definitely going to put his nose in, I reckon, but Ryan, big lock up on the outside. Ryan, see if they can get through there safely. You can see them all bunching up, especially there at the top of the picture. It doesn't look like anyone's made any contact with that inside wall, which has been deadly in past seasons, but it's going to keep the position for Ryan Powell. He's going side by side with Ali Johnson through the floor, through turns 12 and going into 13. Ali's still keeping himself on the optimum line for the chicane, but I think Ryan's going to hold on to that one. Great defence by the Welshman. All that's doing is allowing the front three of Luca Townsend, Phil Garside and Jack Brady to get away from them. So Ryan's going to be really heavily on the defence here, but he's going to hope to try and... What he's going to have to see if he can do is get Ali to be attacked by Brandon so that he can get away and start to chase down that front three. But currently, I know it's early days yet, but that front three is getting away. Ryan won't be liking seeing that ahead of him. Behind him, does still look like nothing's really going on, no changes of position currently. See straight off at the top there, Patrick up in 7th. He's already gained 4 places off of what is first lap, as has Lawrence in 9th, James Allen dropping down 5. Teammate Kieran McKenna going up by 5, so it's definitely, moves being made all over the field. Looks like Ali is again going to try and hang around the outside going through here. He went around the inside last time, and that's all that's done is open the door for Brandon Roos to put his nose alongside Ali Johnson going on to his turn 6, that little kink, and it's going to be turn 7 now, going up into the little right-hander of turn 8, and Brandon Roos has got the position on Ali Johnston. Good move. And look behind them, Callum Patrick is just on the back of this pack of 4. Andrew Lawrence is kind of staying with him, then he got to James Allen, then he gap back to Nathan Rutherford. A bit of a pile of 3 cars that looks like a deck of Emirates and all their packing together. Some went a little bit wide then, but it didn't look like anything unsafe. See now that Robert Newman's dropped back to 20 seconds, so something must have happened for him there. We're keeping with this battle for 4th with Ryan Powell getting away here from Ali Johnson, as of course he is, because Brandon Roos has got that position away as he did a few corners ago. As they bounce their way over the curbs, it does look like Powell and Roos are going to get away from Johnson here. So it's going to be interesting to see whether Brandon's just going to sit behind Ryan and hope Ryan will just pull him along to bring him to the front three. Which at the moment you can see quite clearly Luca Townsend followed by Jack Brady and Phil Garside. There's nothing really between the three of them. No position move being able to be made, as James only can see at the top of the screen has just taken the position away from Patrick, but under brakes, Calvin's taking it back. So let's go to that battle for what will be a top 10 positions. Callum Patrick on the inside here, going through the long right-hander of turn 3. You can see James Allen and that looks like Nathan Rutherford now tucked in right behind. 2 cars going side by side, which is Kieran McKeldin on the inside of Kyle Cully. As see Rutherford just climb the curves a little bit there to see if he can get the inside line on Kirkpatrick. That's not going to happen, as Ashley Field is now getting away from them and getting to this battle, which is going to be on the back of Jake Owen and Andrew Lawrence with Andrew Johnson. As you can see, the 5th of Brandon Roos and 4th of Brian Powell just getting away that little bit more. Garside now, however, for that battle for 2nd and 3rd is right on the back of Jack Brady, and all this is doing is allowing Luca Townsend to get away and get what will be his 5th win of the season. Now, to put it into perspective, behind Luca, next is going to be Brandon Roos with 3 wins, so a 5th win is going to be quite a big one now. Again, there's not much really between the top few drivers in the championship currently. Going from first, which is actually Field on 292, you've then got Brandon 290, Callum Kirkpatrick 277, Luca Townsend 271, and Phil Garside 262, so top 5 will pretty much within a race win of each other. Now I'd only say really it starts to get away from people when you get to about, well, 8, the top 7, you've got Jake Owen on 247, so he's only 43 behind second place obviously, but then you get to 8th, which is at the moment Kyle Cully, and he is on 201, so but again there's 500 points left in the championship, so like up for grabs, so I don't see it being that much of an issue currently. Just look backwards and see that Ali Johnson's now got back onto the 2 of Powell and Roos. Again, that ballast is affecting Roos just enough to not give him that much of a fight against the LD of Powell, he has been complaining about the way that he's been driving, but he did set, in his own words, a blinding lap to get to 2nd place on the grid. So at the moment, first lap is being held by Luca Townsend with that 152.1. So he's going to be getting not only the win but the bonus points. The maximum points on at the moment is Luca Townsend. Field see much going on. This train being built up behind the Chevrolet of Nathan Rutherford. So they've got that looks like Rutherford, Connor Ambrose slotted in behind with Kyle Cully, Ben Berenson, who has for this race and for the remainder of the season switched away from the Mercedes-Benz into the Audi TCR. Struggling with that Mercedes all season, or for the first half of the season, so he's decided to do the switch. Unfortunately, that does mean he has got a full points reset for doing so. But you know, it's the way that he's wanted to work it. He's wanted to get that position. That he's kind of, in my opinion, set himself up nicely for next season in making that switch early, because the way that we work it is that those that used a certain car in the previous season do get that car guaranteed for the next one, so it allows people to develop a car and not just have to go for a first come first serve and risk not being able to kind of get a setup on a car that they do like using. So generally you'll see the Chevrolets go quite quickly, as they're quite a popular car with that acceleration they do hold on to, but it's all, you know, it's all relative. You know, there are some people that, you know, like Callum Kirkpatrick in the BMW, actually fielding his Honda, it all does kind of match to driving style and that kind of thing, but it's the way it is going now. We move forward, you can see it's still Ryan away from Brandon. Ali dropped back a little bit, possibly into the clutches of Andrew Lawrence. Jake Ewan in 8th, 9th is still Ashley Field again, carrying that ballast, and that Honda is not really in a position to fight. Callum Patrick 10th, 11th is now James Allen, who's just sat on the back of Callum, waiting possibly to see if there's going to be an issue for that BMW over the curbs. It's one thing that BMW has been struggling with, is the way that it makes its way over the different size of curbs. Some of the curves here at Catalunya are quite large in terms of a bit of a lift on them, a bit of a camber on them, and the BMW doesn't seem to handle going over curves quite so well, so that does give it a little bit of a disadvantage. Obviously that runoff area there, it's got quite a nice flat curve to it, so it doesn't really affect the BMW too much, but especially through, I'd say, this section, a little bit on this left-right that are about to come through is where the issues for the BMW do normally show. Callum did a stellar performance in the Porsches earlier, taken both race wins yet again, so well rehearsed in rear-wheel drive, so I don't see it really causing him too many issues. But actually looking at it, probably lost the driver because it was saying that James Allen is now 10th. I could be mistaken, but I believe a driver has been dropped. I believe it's Andrew Lawrence, actually. That is so unfortunate. Andrew Lawrence does look like he has been removed from the race. Possible technical issues on his side. It's the issue with online racing. It's possible lag, anything that's just kicked him out. And that's promoted James Allen. Yeah, as you can see now, top right, Dolphin Turbo, that is Andrew Lawrence, has been booted. So, really, there's not masses going on currently. This main one between Powell and Roos is the kind of main battle as it stands. The top three have all gone, they've got their positions settled. As I yawn again, I do apologise, gonna have to get a coffee of me in a second. Then you've got Johnson on his own, Jake Owen and Ashley Field kind of battling together, Cam Kirkpatrick and James Allen. You've got this kind of train that's now spreading out a little bit that was headed by column with Connor Ambrose just behind him. Ambrose has been struggling with his Audi, he's said it himself, sat currently in 11th in the championship. Again, not really out of the fight, but it's just, he has said himself that he hasn't got the drive or anything that he's been looking for in that Audi, and there is rumours that he is looking at a switch again next season, potentially back to BMW, potentially looking at a different car again. Just wants a car with a bit more, it's the acceleration side of it that I think is really letting Connor down on that S3. By his own admission, again, it is his first season back in front-wheel drive, and he has put in some really good performances, but that he just needs that confidence back behind him to get that drive to get that win again. He's seeing his teammate currently fighting, currently fourth. He's seeing his teammate been battling for what is really championship at the moment. And everyone is very well aware that Ryan Powell is one of the top drivers in OMA, especially in the touring cars, but it's something that Connor is having to adapt to. It's his first season in the team as well. Last season he was a lone driver, independent in that BMW, but he's moved to VTX for the season and for oncoming seasons as well. It wasn't just on a one-season deal with these two, so it'd be interesting to see how he can manage, how he can play it on. Again, seeing his teammate fighting for fourth. Ryan is in a pretty good position here. He's in fourth place, which is the highest position scoring you can get without having to carry ballast into race 2. Obviously, race 2 start will be done using a reverse grid draw, which will decide who will start from pole. So as it stands, pole position is a car between 6th and 12th, so pole position could currently be anyone from Ali Johnson to Jake Owen, Ashley Field, Cam Kirkpatrick, James Allen, Nathan Rutherford, or even Connor Ambrose. But those in 4th and 5th are pretty much in a decent position in that they're getting the most points possible without having to carry ballast into race 2. Of course, as you can see the bit of a contact there from Roos in the back of Powell. Is he going to try and open the door to make a move down the straight? It looks like it's just kind of actually given Ryan the boost that you would need for that straight, so this could get heating up in the next few laps as we enter lap 9 of 12. But again, it's one thing I've always said, because people have said, well, why don't people just finish 4th all the time, then they don't have to carry ballast? But you're still losing out on quite a few points for finishing 4th. Yes, you're not carrying ballast into race 2, but you also have the risk of the cars you're going to have to get through due to the fact you're going to have to, anything can happen with the reverse grid draw. You could get caught in the pack, you could get taken out, especially with that. If it was just a case of you do race 1, get your ballast, race 2 is the results of race 1, as we have done in the past, and we did find quite a few people were purposely trying to finish 4th to avoid that ballast, but that's not really what you want. You want people to be fighting for that top position all the time and fighting for the best position possible, and this season we have found a lot better, which is always good to see. It's always improvements is what we want. So further back it looks like, I did for a second, just by judging by the blue dots, I did think that Callum Kirkpatrick and Ashley Field had swapped. I don't know what is going on in my head there. You can see actually Carl Cully's under real pressure there from Ben Berenson. It looks like he's definitely getting better performances out of that TCR. He's down in 14th, but it does seem a little bit stronger in that TCR than what he was doing in that Mercedes. He was falling back quite a bit. Again, by his own admission, he was not getting on with the Mercedes. Again, it's one of those cars that was changed for this season. It was given that little bit more grip, but it's not for everyone. Some people do preferred by PTX the season before, when it had the extra top speed. It was able to, you know, overpowered per se in the straights. And it didn't really have much grunt through the corners, and that was what caused its build to be changed. Top speed brought down a little bit, acceleration or grip, shall we say, increased. And that's brought it more in line with all the other cars, but again the Mercedes is one that, because it hasn't got that great of an acceleration, it struggles in certain situations. There are some tracks where it's brilliant at. You know, look at Road Atlanta, that was a definite one for the Mercedes. That's the car, that's where that car really shines. But you get to the more technical tracks, such as this one, Catalunya, such as, I believe one that really struggled last season was Brands GP. Even though it's got a couple long straight, or that one long straight especially, it was a real struggle for the Mercedes around there. And that's the way people have had to choose their cars. They've had to think about, you know, and that's the main reason that I've heard that Powell and Ambrose decided on the S3, because it was a car that didn't really have a strength or a weakness. Its weakness and its strength was that it didn't have the either. It's kind of a middle of the ground, average in everything, so it doesn't really have a track that you could look at and go, it's not going to do well there. But it also doesn't have a track that you look at and go, that's where the Audi S3 is going to be brilliant. So all in all, they made the switch. It seems paying off a little bit for Powell as it stands. You know, he has himself said that he's not quite as happy as he could be with how he's been doing. Ambrose, he's disappointed with himself, but he's definitely getting there, I'd say. But see here, Powell is definitely holding off Brandon Roos in that Chevrolet, but Brandon does have ballast. So if Brandon didn't have that 5% power handicap, would he have got past Powell as it stands and gone on? Potentially. State there, and that's given 10th place now to Nathan Rutherford. So this, as we can see, actually I can see that Garside is right on Rayleigh going through those turns, as Ryan is having to defend heavily from Brandon Roos. As I go to that, Brandon's dived to the inside and potentially taking a position away from Ryan. Ryan's going to possibly try and hang it around the outside, going up into the technical, up onto the left right here. Ryan looks like he's trying to do a bit of a switchback. He's going to tuck in behind. He's diving to that inside now. Is he going to hold on to him? Are going to be able to go too wide through there? Ryan does well to get that position back. Great move by the Welshman. Brandon is now potentially going to try and get the outside line going into turn 10, but I think Ryan's done pretty well there to get that position back as quick as he did and hold on to that one. Of course, we can see Luca is getting away massively, but Ali Johnson is really under threat now from the Mercedes of Jacobin. That BCR development. Striking gold livery there, sported by the Scottish driver Jacob. It's his first full season of OMA, and he's showing people why he went for it. He's doing pretty well. He's looking like he's going to try and get a run on Johnson on the straight. Actually, feel unfortunately it's just him to sit behind this and hope that there's something going on. Hope that there is an incident, or hope that a mistake is made so he can gain a position, because that Honda just doesn't have much. It's brilliant through the corners, but it doesn't really have much grunt elsewhere, so it's kind of a, as it's been described, a bit of a hot lap car. It's not really got a bonus that it can use to try and make an overtake, as Jake Owen, under braking, has put himself on the outside, which then takes the inside back to the outside, going through the section of corners. That's a brilliant move by Owen to put himself in this possible position, as he hangs around the outside of Ali Johnston through turns 3 going into 4, and that's a great move, to be a gutsy move to keep it around the outside. Defends the inside line brilliantly here as they go through. Looks like Ali's able to find an earlier apex, or even steal the apex away from him, and he's possibly going to try and get him going into turn 5. Under braking, get into the outside. He's going to try and go for the switchback, but all this is doing is actually field right on them now, open again for that mistake or anything. But we're here on the last lap, so it's all weighted now until then. So we can see James Allen and Conor Ambrose side by side for what is 11th place. One with the old spec Audi S3, one with the newer Audi TCR, and behind them Ben Berenson has separated himself from Carl Cully and is gunning for 12th. Yeah, he's gunning for 12th place there, sorry. Of course, 12th place was Connor going around the outside. Ben's looking for a gap. He's potentially going to just slot in and try and follow Connor round. Connor taking the outside. Going to get forced out a little bit wide there, but Ben's trying to put himself in that position. But we make our way back to the front. Luca Townsend's taken the win. Garside, I've missed it completely, but Garside has taken second place away from Jack Brady. That must have been in the final few corners. Can't believe I haven't seen that. Ryan Power's going to hold on to that one. Jay Owen has got past, and Ali Johnson looked like he was going to get under pressure from Ashley Field has crossed the line. It does stay with Ali Johnson. 8th goes to Field 9th. See, 10th was going to be 9th for Callum Kirkpatrick. 10th is going to be Nathan Rutherford. Then we get 11th for James Allen, 12th Conor Ambrose, 13th for Ben Barrington, just missing out on that potential podium start from pole on the grid. 14th for Kyle Cully, 15th for Kieran McKell, 16th for Declan Neville, 17th for Shane Bellotti, 18th for Mark Ruddick, 19th is going to be Stephen Cumming, 20th is going to be Robert Newman, and 21st, coming around the final few corners, is going to be Duncan Prime. So a bit of a nothing race until the final few laps. Unfortunately, I missed what was the main one, and that was the overtake for second place between Garside and Brayley. But all in all, Prime runs a little bit wide there. All in all, looked like quite a good race. A bonus point does go the way of Luca Townsend, but it's race 2 potentially will throw up quite a lot more with it being a reverse grid. As we switch, we can see that confirmation there as it was Luca Townsend followed by Phil Garside and Jack Ray. Then Ryan Powell did of course come home in 4th, hold off the attack that was made by Brandon Roos in the final few laps. So obviously now it's going to be Townsend, Garside and Brayley who are going to hold on to ballast for race 2. So we'll wait to see who is going to get the reverse grid draw. It goes the way of 8th place, so opposition is going to be had by Ashley Field. Now, unlucky there for Callum Kirkpatrick, but that is going to be thrown up by a lot, as we know that Ashley Field, when he's out in front, does tend to just escape in that car. So it all depends now whether he's going to be able to do that. Is he going to get a jump off the line? He's going to have the Chevrolet of Ali Johnson alongside him, and the Chevrolet of Brandon Roos directly behind. I don't see the Mercedes of Owen making that position. So let's see, go further down the grid than Brinson. It's Seffel's first race in that TCR. Brandon Brinson has come in 13th place. That's not a bad drive for him. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do in that from pole position, Ashley Field. If he gets a good start, I would bet my life savings on him getting away. So see 20th place to go away of Robert Newman, which does mean he gets the final points of for his position. For his first one, unfortunately no points for him, and he is in a team, so he doesn't even get anything for his independent standings. Unfortunately, a DNF for Angelo. It's just the one car lost. And again, just be interesting to see how this goes, how this pans out. So it turns out the reason that Jack was able to did drop back actually was he got himself eventually 6.7% engine damage. So kind of his own fault, shall we say, for losing that. Let's see, just double check whether everyone has made it in okay. Looks like everyone is back. I do believe we lost some, however. Now only 22 as it was 23. Just waiting to see whether Garza will put his ballast on that he does need to hold on to for getting on that podium. as I am being berated for telling everyone where reverse grid was going before the drivers knew. So apologies for ruining that for some people. Joke, not sorry. So we'll be back in a second. Just obviously gonna get prepared now for race 2. Right, here we go. So, as mentioned, Ashley Field gets pole for race 2. Go around the grid, see. Ashley Field. Ali Johnston did a decent drive in race 1 to get what was a good position of 8th, if I've read that correctly. No, 7th, sorry. Bit of a battle that went on between himself and Brandon for a bit, but he did drop back a little bit on the end. And that 6th place did end up eluding him on the way of Jake Owen. Going further down, you see there he is, Jake Owen, Brandon Bruce, Ryan Powell, Jack Brady, Phil Garside and Luca Townsend rounding up those who obviously finished in the top 8. Patrick, Nathan Williford, James Allen, Connor Ambrose, Ben Brenson, Kyle Cully, Kieran McKellen, Declan Evans, Shane Bellotti, Mark Roddick, Stephen Cumming, Roy Newman and Duncan Prime. Andrew Lawrence is perched up in 22nd after his DNF, and newcomer to the series, Stuart Robson, sat down in what will be his first start in 23rd, so sporting his Cadbury's cream egg livery. So welcome to the series. Hopefully see if he has a good ride. Let's get a chance to look at his car. The cream egg on the side. That's good. So anyway, back to the front of the grid we go with Ashley Field. Again, I do fancy Ali Johnston to be first into turn 1. But it's just interesting to see what can be done behind him, because Ali does sometimes mess up his starts, he'll admit that. Ali, if I know you're watching, I'm not going to apologise. So here we go. Obviously the cars, you can see them all getting a grid, and you can see 4 cars back there. Nathan Rutherford has really set himself up to dive for that inside line. You can see him really angling for it now. Completely legal. As long as he's behind the lines, he's fine. You now see the revs are climbing. Race 2 is underway. Good start eventually by Field, but that front end grip on that Honda just doesn't give it enough bump out of the way, and you can see that now Ali Johnston has taken the start. Gonna get the whole shot into turn 1. Jack Brady looks like he's got a decent start. He's going to be alongside him. No, that's not. Is that Brady or is that's Brandon Roos? My apologies. Bit of a run out wide there, and Ashley Field's going to tuck him behind the pyramid. He's going to try and sit in behind. Back of the grid, looks like someone had a big drop back. Humming potentially went a bit wide. Ashley Field looking like he's punching his way through, pushing Brandon Roos. Brandon Roos now taking the lead. Ashley Field's going to dive at the inside. The pair of them try and get a good run through the S here. Through turn 4. Field good move potentially, but he's going to have to just brakes a little bit here just to get that line behind Roos, and that's it. Giving him second place. Looking further the grid, someone has gone off the track. Looks like it was newcomer Robson. Gone a little bit wide there on the exit of turn 5. Oh, we've got someone who's gone off majorly back at the back. Who is that? Hard to tell who that is. That is Mark Ruddick. Apologies, in the VTX Since Gaming Audis. That's going to put him right at the back of the pack. So look through, we can see there's quite a lot of battling going on through the grid. Top 4 look to be kind of spaced out a little bit, and Ryan Powell again sat in the battle for 5th. It looked like he was just dives up the inside of Callum Kirkpatrick there, and that's going to give a bit of a boost to Jeff Brady to take the inside of Kirkpatrick going into the final turns. That's a decent move there by the pair. It does look like he's now. There's Kirkpatrick getting an inside line on Brady going into turn 1. The pair of them side by side. Brady's having to defend heavily, especially with the ballast he's carrying him. Callum Kirkpatrick has gone before the line, before the breaking point. It's got past him. That puts him back up into 6th. So we're going to make 3 positions this race. From the start yet again, that fast starting BMW really doing well, but it looks like Brady has actually dived straight back past him. Just left a little bit of a gap and then he goes. But there we go, battle for the front. Ashley Field right on the back of Brandon Roos. Can't really see these two battling too much. Jake Owen has got Ali Johnson to defend from. Ryan Powell out on his own. Brayley, Kirkpatrick and Townsend together. Garth side is gonna have a bit of a battle here with Nathan Rutherford, part of his stable. Or Rafe Rutherford, sorry, in charge of the STR stable. Rutherford looks like he's having to defend quite heavily from Kieran McKeldin at the same time, so that's going to just possibly allow... Oh, just caught a glimpse of it then. That looked like someone going sideways. Who was that who got spun around? Looks like it's all kicking off in the back there. Potentially Chamberlotti was sideways at one point, but I think somehow they've all made it through without one driver ending up in a wall, so a lot of contact going through those final few corners, but it looked as if everyone somehow made it through without any damage. Quite incredible, because there was definitely one car that was completely 90 degrees sideways. It did at first glance look like the Red Bull Audi that was of Kieran McKeldin. Possibly be something to look back on afterwards and see what exactly happened there, but so I'll try and see what exactly went on. As you can see now, well, there's a big tap from Declan Evans onto the back of what is his teammate. And that's just allowing him to put himself through potentially, and it looks like it's going to be held onto by McKeldin. As I think Ben Berenson just trying to get the inside. Yeah, he is. Ben Berenson is on the inside of Stephen Cumming going through this back section. He looks like he's going to get the inside going through turn 7 and 8, and that's a good move by the Swede. Front, however, you can see it's still Ali Johnson now in third, who's got his gap. Ashley Field is just going to be tucked onto the back of Brandon Roos, hoping to get that position, but he's not really in a position to challenge him. He's just enough away that you can see him, but he's not going to be able to get past that Chevrolet at the moment. Then you've got Ali Johnson in the head of the field of this snake that is slowly getting more and more drivers. Is now potentially Jake Owen. There's a little bit of a gap is formed between himself and Johnson. Johnson potentially going to try and get onto the back of Ashley Field. He's not going to do it quite yet, but it's Johnston from Owen from like Powell. Let's see, one car that dropped back quite heavily actually is that of Conor Ambrose, so he might have been one of those involved in that melee. Head of the field of that snake is still Kieran McKeldin. Very quick mention, however, that Andrew Lawrence did start in 22nd on the grid, and he's currently sitting after what is 4 racing laps well, 3 racing laps in fact. We are currently on the 4th racing lap. He's signed 12th position. What a drive by the Chevrolet driver. Not really. That's something that's kind of gone along without much of a notice in fact. So that's a very good move. It's up into 11th now in fact. As we may have lost another driver. Who is gone now? It's really hard to see who it is, but we've definitely lost one. Hopefully we'll get an idea at the top of our screen in a second, but always unfortunate to see it. It was Callum Kirkpatrick in the BMW who's now gone this time. That's going to do masses to his title fight. Especially with Brandon Roos currently ahead of him, who was right on him in the standings. That was extremely disappointing to see him drop out. I see a lot of bunching up going for 12th now, which is Kieran McKeldin sat in that position. Oh, that looked like James Allen very close to the wall there on the outside. Carl Cully now looks like he's gotten to the back of the battle. Let's see if he can make a push onto Rutherford's Chevrolet. As I talk about it, Andrew Lawrence has been booted as well. He made a stellar drive to get all the way up, but I can see just at the top of the screen that he has now been dropped. So now, whether there's an issue with the Forza service or something, I'm not sure. We don't normally lose 2 drivers in one race, apart from due to incidents, unfortunately. But to see, 2 drivers who are both battling for that such a high position to be dropped out like that is extremely unfortunate. However, the race still goes on, and it's still Brandon Roos followed by Ashley Field, Ali Johnson in 3rd. Kind of safe at the moment from Jay Coogan, who's having to defend from Ryan Powell and Jack Brady, who's got Luca Townsend a bit behind, but just in a position to make a move if a mistake is made. Garside 8th, currently 9th is Nathan Rutherford, with 10th being Carl Cully, who's definitely gained onto the back of him. 11th is still Kieran McKeldin, as you can see. Stephen coming alongside Conor Ambrose, going through the quick right-hander of... Looks like Ambrose is just going to keep his nose alongside, so he's going to potentially try and get him under braking on the inside here. I'm going to try and hang it around the outside the entire time. Looks like he's just going to miss out. Very unfortunate there, but it's a good move by Ambrose. Make a bit further up the field, we can see the mini train now forming 4th, 5th place. Braley's all over the back of Ryan Powell. He's giving him a bit of a bump through the final turn there, it looked like, in fact. But the ballast on that Chevrolet is just dropping it back a little bit as they exit the corner, so it's not allowing him to make a push on Powell going down the straight. Under braking, I don't think it's going to be in a position to make a move either. If Powell sends it in for turn 1, hunting the back of Jay Coogan's Mercedes. Rayleigh and Townsend really got onto the back of him now. I think Townsend wants to make that place and just kind of get back up through the field and try and get as much as he can out of this one. So obviously race 3 grid is almost a full reverse. It is a randomizer between, I want to say 12th and 20th. So at the moment, the only person who would be guaranteed to miss out is Duncan Prime, unfortunately. But the kind of overall consensus that race 3 is just, it's going to be manic. So people try and get their points in race 2 as Powell is really pressuring Owen actually at the moment. He's looking for a gap anyway. You can see him while he's pushing him through the next few corners. You see whether Powell's in a position to make a dive through the chicane. He's already done one move on Kirkpatrick going through there, but he's not quite close enough to win at the moment. All he's doing is allowing Ali Johnson to get away and solidify third place, so Ali's not going to complain one bit. As we go to a black screen, I do hope that's not because another car has been booted, which seems to be the overall consensus. In fact, it is. It's Luca Townsend this time. 3 JSB cars, all removed, so Luca Townsend, after a bit of praise, has found himself dropped back as well. Luca potentially is going to hop into chat in a minute, because I do know that he watches the stream. But of the 4 JSB cars, 3 have been booted out. As I say this, Brian Powell makes that dive on the inside of Owen. Last one standing is Jack Brady behind him. Wonder if he's going to get booted as well. However, that is extremely disappointing. I wonder whether Luca is in fact going to be watching the screen. Hopefully we'll get a word from Luca in a second, even if he just mentions how disappointing he is that he's been booted. Expect to see some sort of expletives, although he is only about 10, so I doubt he'll kick off too much. If that doesn't get a rise out of him, nothing will. Doesn't look like much is going to be happening, so unfortunately Luca is going to be starting from 21st for race 3. Of course he will also. Only 2 JSB cars got to disconnected. No, Callum. Yourself, Luca, and Andrew Lawrence. Didn't disconnect. Oh. Alright then. That explains that, I guess. I will not question that one. Well, back to the racing, but at the moment all we can see really is the battle currently for 7th as Nathan Rutherford defends heavily from Garside, who's on his inside going into turn 4. Garside's going to beat him under brakes potentially, and Rutherford's going to have to watch out because he's got Carl Kelly right behind him. Ah, right. Okay. Well, hopefully we'll be able to get a look at it and see what's going on. Can't handle that shit, plus my self-driving shit. Oh, right, okay. So kind of everything that could have gone wrong was going wrong for you there, Callum. Well, unfortunate to see that, mate. Next week isn't Mugello, so hopefully that'll go a little bit better for you. Ooh, Nathan Rutherford running really wide there through chicane. Carl Kelly looked like he backed out. Was potentially going to go for the move, but it looked like he did back out that one, so that's going to now give Garside the gap. Going up through the field, Ryan Powell potentially gaining on the back of Ali Johnson, but I don't think enough to be making a move quite yet. He's got 3 laps left to potentially make something happen though. Let's go further back, see where the moves are being made. Battle for 10th between Kieran McKeldin and Ben Berenson is still kind of heating up. Declan Lem's just tucked in behind them, but not really much to see as it stands, so we'll just try and keep an eye out to see what is going on. I think the main one at the moment is going to be this fight for 3rd. I'll try and keep one eye on this on the move going on at the moment with Kieran McKeldin, Ben Berenson and Declan Evans. So in front of them, Cully and Rutherford not quite making moves yet. You can see that Phil Garside has definitely got that gap now. Brady on the back of Owen, but potential move into the tight left hander here, but I don't think he's going to be able to get him under braking too much. Although if a gap is open, Brady will definitely go for that one. Battle for the top 10 though. McKeldin, very decent drive from him so far. Ben Brenson tucked in behind him. Again, second race in that Audi, is clearly happier in that one. Looking all through the field, the main battles actually look to be going on towards the back of the grid. Further forward, they all seem to be getting spread out, especially the gap between Brandon Roos and Ashley Field as it stands. Ali Johnston got the gap, however, Braley is really on Owen. In fact, I think Braley's potentially going to try and make a move into the right hand of Repsol in a second. The acceleration being dampened down by ballast is definitely hurting Braley to the point that he can't quite make those dives that you'd normally find him do. However, Owen does look like he ran out a little bit wide, but not enough for Braley to battle on against him. Braley's taking a wider line, try and dive in as Owen runs a little bit wide on exit. Is that going to give Braley the chance he needs? There's a bit of a door banging through the side. Two of them, they go through turn 5 and 6 into 7. Braley's got the inside line. Owen has to check out. Good move by Braley. Again, that was really set up by the mistake from Owen to run that a little bit wide and just allow Braley to get that gap. And as I said earlier, if a gap does open, you can almost guarantee that Jack Braley is going to go for that one. So, good move by him. Looking around, don't think Owen's quite in a position to dive back on him yet. Puff of smoke there from Ryan Powers. He's really pushing to try and get back on, or try and get onto the back of Ali Johnston. I don't really think he's going to be able to do so. So, all in all, bit of nothing going on. Brandon Roos has really ran away with this one. Thought he would get away quite well. I believed it was going to be Ali Johnston, in fact, who was going to be getting away quite quickly, but Roos dispatched both him and Field quite early on and has not really looked back since. It's been quite a, for all intents and purposes, quite a lonely drive for Roos here today, as it has been for Ashley Field, sat in second. With that Honda, he knew he wouldn't really have much of a fight to give. He's just done his usual, set consistent laps, and he's got a really good position in second place, and it's going to be his 6th second place finish of the season. Kind of making himself quite consistent in that one. Unfortunately, Roos in first is going to get his gap at the top of the standings, just that little bit further. But realistically, this has just been quite an easy drive for him. Looking back, Ali Johnston third. 4th Ryan Powell, that's going to be kept. As Garside has run really wide on the exit, on going through turn 4. Looks like he made quite a big mistake. There's a lock up in front of him, which is going to be Carl Cully, I believe, in that Chevrolet. As Carl runs into the gravels, that's going to give Garside the place back. Only thing now really needed to happen is for Nathan Rutherford to make a mistake, give Garside back to the original position, and everything can go back to normal, but don't see that happening quite so much. Down in 10th, still Kieran McKeldin defending away from Berenson and Evans, so he's done a really good job here to keep this top 10. Feel like that's going to be Curtis the commentator now, as he does run that little bit wide and kiss the gravel, but it looks like Evans did as well. Berenson has taken the outside line, and just as I said it would happen, as McKeldin takes that inside line straight back from him. But we're going to leave this for a second, quickly go and see Brandon Roos has won this race. Second has gone to Ashley Field. Third is going to go to Ali Johnston. Yet another podium for him. Decent return to the championship for Johnston. 4th is going to be Ryan Powell. 5th Jack Brady. 6th is going to be Jake Owen. 7th is going to be Nathan Rutherford, having to defend from Phil Garside for the final few corners. 9th is going to be Carl Cully. 10th for Kieran McKeldin. 11th Ben Berenson, who dropped back a little bit there. In fact, I believe there's been a connection issue for Ben Berenson. Which, if that is the case, that is extremely disappointing. In fact, that looks like heavy damage. What has happened to... That, to me, looks like he's hit that inside wall. So Ben Berenson finishes the... Ben Berenson has had a disappointing finish to the race there, it looks like, but... There we go. The win goes to Brandon Roos. Fastest lap as well to Brandon Roos. Didn't really see that going to anyone else. He was away from the field so quick. Second to Ashley Field and third to go to Ali Johnson. So another, like I say, decent drive for Johnston. But real disappointment there for Ben Berenson if that is what has happened at the end. So just to get confirmation then, so look through, see Brandon Roos, Ashley Field, Ali Johnston. Fast lap of course to go to Roos as well. Fourth went Ryan Powell for the second time in a row, so he's having a good run of it at the moment. Fifth Jack Brady, sixth is Jake Owen. Seventh for Nathan Rutherford. Eighth Phil Garside after his little trip to the gravel. Ninth for Carl Cully after the same thing, a little trip to the gravel. Running out the top 10 is Kieran McKeldum, followed by James Allen and Stephen Cumming. And then behind them, 13th has gone to Stuart Robson on his first ever race. A good performance from him. Ambrose taking 14th, 15th for Shane Bellotti. 15th, Shane Bellotti, sorry, 16th is Robert Newman. 17th for Mark Roddick. 19th went to Declan Evans. So whether it was him and Ben that came together actually, it could have been what it was. And then obviously, as we've seen, the 3 DNFs for Andrew Lawrence, Callum Kirkpatrick and Luca Townsend. And that does at the moment put the title fight really quite close. It's extremely close at the moment between the top two drivers. Obviously Brandon Roos and Ashley Field getting a little bit of a gap now. Behind them the fight could not really be closer. So again, bear with us as we get prepared for what will be race 3. I'm not going to say who got pole position this time, as I got told off last time for it. So here we go. Race 3. Duncan Prime starting on pole. What is he going to be able to do from there? Big one's really going to be to see what the ballast carriers and championship leaders are going to be able to do from so far back on the grid. So, grid favourite, Duncan Prime, starts from pole position for race 3. Alongside him is going to be Mark Roddick. Robert Newman third, fourth, Shane Bellotti, another one of the favourites. Fifth, Conor Ambrose. Newcomer, Stuart Robson is sat in 6th. Stephen Cummings 7th, 8th is James Allen 9th, Kieran McKeldin 10th, Carl Cully. Then outside the top 10 we've got Phil Garside, our second place finisher from race 1 of the evening. Nathan Rutherford, who's just been plodding away, putting in some decent results with a 10th and a 7th. Jake Owen down in 13th. Jack Brilliant 14th. 15th is Ryan Powell, who's got 2 4th place finishes so far. Is he going to be able to replicate that from 15th? Great drive if he can manage that one. 16th, Ali Johnson, who is currently sitting with some ballast after his 3rd place finish in race 2. Ashley Field, 17th, carrying that ballast for finishing 2nd. Obviously race 2's winner, Brandon Roos, down in 18th. 19th and 20th is Evans and Berenson, who it turns out, whilst fighting side by side with McLeod and Berenson, did clip the inside wall of the turn that he's just making his way through now. And unfortunately Evans had nowhere to go but into the side of him, so that's what caused that one. Luca Townsend 21st after a disconnect. Andrew Lawrence 22nd after his disconnect for the 2nd race in a row. Hopefully he'll be able to stay in for this one. And Callum Kirkpatrick at the rear in 23rd in that BMW. So, the real question is, first off, who of these front guys is going to hold on to that position? Because these guys at the moment, this front 5 especially, haven't really had a chance to shine this season. They've all had a bit of bad luck, a bit of mistakes, all that kind of thing. The standard kind of unfortunates that can happen during a race. But one of them at the moment does really have a good chance of getting a good result here, or even all of them, if they can stay out of trouble. It's all going to come down to what they can do from where they are. We will look back at the grid as they get in. This 23 car grid at the maximum. Final cars have got into position and one to watch. Really, none of these cars at the front are going to expect to get that brilliant of a start, so I can expect a quite bunch up into turn 1, but here we go. Revs have climbed. We are away for race 3. What a start by Roddick alongside. He's potentially going to be first going into turn 1 already. You can see the Chevrolet in the background is already making a few moves. The Honda is going to make a move on the inside of Duncan Prime, and that's going to put a position gain for Newman. That fast starting Chevrolet of Carl Cully is making real dives, and he's taken to the outside there of turn 1. We're all kind of bunching up, and we can now see I believe that is Mark Roddick still holding on to first place. Callum Kirkpatrick is already up into 17th from 23rd. What a start he has made. But at the moment it looks like Mark Roddick has taken first place. Second has gone to Robert Newman. Third is Duncan Prime currently, but he's already been swamped there by what is Ambrose and Cully. Ambrose hanging around the outside at the moment of Cully, going through the next few turns, but he's had to drop back behind. He's got Phil Garside along the side, but he's taking the inside line there and he's already going to make a move on Prime going through. So Cully at the moment, that Chevrolet is going to try and make a push for the top two quite quick, I reckon. Mark Roddick at the moment, he's going to be the bottle, I think, in this whole pack. Looking back through the grid, it looks like everyone has actually got through there quite nicely and safely, which you always quite nice to see. Ali Johnson at the back, so he hasn't had the greatest of starts. Someone looks like they've gone a little bit wide through there, but nothing major. Duncan Prime currently starting 5th, has got a bit of a battle going up here. Prime drops down to 7th as Garside and Cumming get past, and he's got Kieran McKeldin, that looks like, on his inside. No, James Allen, apologies, on his inside, taking that position away from him as well. You can see them making their way through. The cameras don't really show if they had hit, if anyone made a contact on that wall that has already claimed on. There's 2 cars look like they've gone off into the gravel. That is Ben Berenson is not having a good time. No, it's not Ben Berenson, sorry, it looks like that was Stuart Robson. So he's had a bit of a moment, ended up in the gravel and dropped back a few places, but so we go through the final. Oh, someone's in the wall there. Who is that that's had a bad time? Is that James Allen? That's Kieran McKeldin, who's had a bit of a bad time going through the S's, but to go to the front you can see it's Mark Roddick followed by Robert Newman, Carl Cully in 3rd, 4th is Conor Ambrose, 5th is Phil Garside, 6th is Stephen Cumming, 6th is Stephen Cumming, 7th is Duncan Price, 8th is Jago, and 9th is James Allen, and 10th is Ryan Powell at the front of the pack that is looking to make that chase, and he's got Jack ready for company, as well as Callum Kirkpatrick, who's really climbing up positions, but you can see at the top there, big jump for Carl Cully, up 7 places from the start. Duncan Prime's gone down 7. Callum Kirkpatrick has already gained 11 places in 1 lap, so he's had a great start to this race. Already see some contact on the inside of Ryan Powell's car there, as Brady makes a bit of a door banging move on him to take that inside line and take that position away from him. Go back to the front, we can see that Mark Roddick is still heading the field. Robert Newman for company, but he's going to try and hold him off as much as he can, and they're actually getting away from Carl Cully here, so this could be a really good result for these two if they can do this. Carl Cully's got Conor Ambrose for company, so we're going to switch back to that and see if he can keep that battle behind him. You can see him looking ahead at the cars in front now, but not with the defence that he's having to put on against from Ambrose. I don't see them making this move, making the positions up quite yet, so really what needs to be going on here between Roddick and Newman is they need to work together to get out of the positions, but instead they're just battling, and it looks like they are putting themselves in the clutches of these cars coming through. So however, Roddick is doing really well to hold on to this lead, and in doing so Robert Newman is, you can see Carl Cully having to just take to the grass a little bit there just to hold on to position as he himself is Garside and Ambrose goes side by side through the chicane, and Cully is looking like he's really trying to make a move on Newman at the moment. He's just giving that Honda a little bit of a tap, just going to slot in behind him and try and pull onto the inside to try and take him into the turn 1. As you can see, currently you've got Mark Roddick still in 1st, 2nd is still Newman, but not for long as Carl Cully makes his move to the inside for turn 1. Newman's probably that a little bit later. Is he going to hold on to it? That's a great defensive. Yeah, he's done really well to hold on to that position under brakes. Roddick is still sat in front of him in 1st place. 2nd is now still going to be apologies. Looks like Cully did get him on the exit of turn 2, but he didn't. But Newman put up a real fight to try and hold on to that one. Behind them, I did see Ambrose run a little bit wide. He was putting back into 7th. Behind them, Callum Kirkpatrick in the battle for 9th is heading the. Well, was heading the field, but they're all battling around so much. All the JSB cars all in one pack here, or 3 of them at least, all battling together, which is Lawrence. I believe that is Roos. Apologies, it is Lawrence, Townsend and Kirkpatrick all battling around. You've got Ryan Powell just behind him, waiting for any mistake. But Mark Roddick still standing in 1st place. 2nd place is still being held by Carl Cully. He was ridden under some real pressure from Robert Newman going through the quick right-hander at the top of this track. So making their way down into the tight left, which has claimed a victim already tonight. Not that wall, the wall on the inside that they're just going to make their way to. You can see Newman ran wide there and just braking with Cully, and that's going to put now Cully into the crosshairs now as he looks to try and make the move on Roddick, but really a little bit of a lock there from the Welshman as he's making his way into the final few turns to start lap 5. If we look down the grid, we can see see, they're all kind of bunching up, especially here at 16th as Duncan Prime is really dropping back. But he's, oh, now it looks like that's Ambrose and, is that Ambrose and Powell who came together there? Looks like. Let's see if we can find out what exactly has gone on there. Roddick's still defending from Carl Cully, who is still under pressure now from Stephen Cummins. So this top three at the moment of Roddick, Cully and Cummins, who's also got Jake Ewan actually with him now. So you've got the two BCR cars both coming for this fight. It appears, just having a look back, that Conor Ambrose actually hit the wall, and it just, unfortunately, nowhere to go for Ryan Powell. Everyone kind of avoided him, but Powell had nowhere to go and just bumped into him. So Roddick first, second Cully. They make their way over the line to start lap 6. Roddick, Cully, Cummins, Ewan, Newman, Garside was going up through the field, Muzan, so Luca Townsend in 7th, 8th is Cameron Kirkpatrick, 9th is Rutherford, 10th is Brandon Roos, 11th is Andrew Lawrence, 12th Ashley Field. Going back through, the only real one who's lost out is James Allen, but he did have to pit due to a contact, I believe it was early, that forced his hand, but Mark Roddick currently he's making a really good drive from him at the moment. Wonders for his championship. He's not really in the championship fight at the moment, but just a decent result like this could do so much to put him up through the position, really put his confidence up. I feel like I'm going to have to stop talking about it, however, he's going to jinx. I'm going to end up jinxing him, so I'm going to switch back to 3rd place. You can see the two BCR cars battling, which is coming and doing. Really got to be careful, these two, and try not to hold each other up, because what they should be doing really is working together to get onto the back of Cully and onto the back of Roddick and go for that lead. You can see that Audi in first place squirrel around a little bit. It looked like he had a bit of a possible mess up on the entry, but he's still holding on to that about a 70-foot lead. You can see a car has pulled aside. I believe that's going to be James Allen. Yeah, it is. James Allen unfortunately has retired from the race. This battle for first place is the main one as it stands. Mark Roddick first, Carl Cully second, really all over the back of the Welshman, but there's not really a gap opening up so much. Behind them, again the BCR cars have, apologies, as it looked like Cully was going to make a dive to the inside there, but he thought better of it. 7th is Luca Townsend on the back of this pack, and he's going to try and get his way through. He's already pulling alongside Robin Newman on the straight. But he's ended up dropping behind, so that Chevrolet he's gone for a massive dive at the inside. Under braking, what a move by Luca Townsend to take that. Now he sets his sights on Phil Garside, and you can see the cars ahead of him all. They're not really being bottlenecked up by Roddick. He's just driving his race and keeping them behind. He's done so well so far. Normally you find a car like, no offence to Roddick at all, but he will himself admit he's one of the lower down drivers on the grid in terms of his pace, but he's not exactly holding these guys up to the point where everyone is in a long snake and accidents are happening. It's still stretching them out, but you can see Carl Cully is getting frustrated and trying to make the dive on the inside, but I think Roddick is going to hold on to that one, and all that's doing is allowing Newman as a mistake from under this. It looks like Cully is now taking the inside line. Mark Roddick's going to look for the switchback. To take the outside line going down the straight, and that has put Jake Ewan onto his inside now, so Mark Roddick finds himself dropping back into 3rd place. Carl Cully is currently taking the lead, so he is now the new leader of the race. Stephen Cumming bounces over the curbs to get the position back. Looks like they got through there safely. Mark Roddick holding on to third place. Looked like Stephen Cumming did make a mistake and then try and let off to allow Roddick the position back, so probably nothing to be said about that one, but all that's done is put Garside back into fourth place, so he's not going to complain at all. Luca Townsend currently in now fifth place after his drive from what was the back of the grid. He's made a real drive through, as the black screen means we have potentially lost another driver. Might have been lucky and it might have... I think we have. It's Kieran McKellen. We've lost Kieran McKellen from the race, so a day of disconnects, I think, is the way to put this one. Back to the front. See, it's still Carl Cully from JQ and Mark Roddick still in third place, having to defend heavily from championship hopeful Luca Townsend as he dives up his inside, and Phil Garside's going to try and take that position along with him. Roddick's going to try and hang it around the outside of Garside, going through the fast kink. Bit of contact there. Looks like Roddick's just going to possibly try and actually hang it around the outside if he's going to keep that position, and he has done so. Looks like he has kept on to that one, so that's a really good defence there from Roddick. He's really fighting for this position. So it's still Carl Cully from Jacob and from Luca Townsend now in third with his mega drive through the field. Fourth, Mark Roddick fifth as Phil Garside. Sixth is... wow, it looks like Cumming and Garside have swapped positions again, actually. And then Kirkpatrick is down in seventh as it stands. Luca Townsend is getting onto the back of the top two now. Makes that move to the inside of Owen, wasting no time to make a move. Owen unfortunately for Townsend has got the inside line, but Townsend's going to hold on to that one. He's going to make the inside move onto the final corner. Is that going to be allowing anyone to get back onto these two? It's not looking so. However, looking at it, someone has had an off. Looks, it's hard to tell, but it does look like Mark Roddick has ended up off track. What has gone on for the Welshman? VTX having a horrific day of it. We'll have to leave it now. Back to the front. Carl Cully still in first place. Sat behind him is the battle for second between Luca Townsend and and Jay Coohan. Phil Garside is in fourth place. Apologies. Holding off Callum Kirkpatrick. Past them now. Right up through the field. So he looks to try and get back onto this top three fight between Cully, Townsend and Owen. Going further down the field. Climb down in 18th. He's disappointed with how that's gone. He really thought he could make that push. However, might need to have a look at the car that Kieran McKellen is driving, because apparently he's managed 391 miles per hour. As I say this, however, Luca Townsend has taken the lead away from Carl Cully through turn 1. Carl Cully's going to try and fight it back through the left-hander, and is he going to hold on to the outside line? Looks like Luca's got that one, but Cully's not going to give up this one without a fight. But Luca Townsend, real big move. Jake Owen's just sat in third, waiting for the two in front of him to make any mistake whatsoever. Catalan Kirkpatrick in fifth is getting onto the back of Garside now as he's escaped the fight that was going on behind him. Speaking of fights, looks like Nathan Rutherford is having to defend heavily from Jack Braley. As you can see, Jack Braley making a move left, making a move right, trying to get that place. Brandon Roos sat behind him, probably hoping that he's going to do the same. Behind them, you can see Ashley Field in 12th. That's not going to be a good points finish for him, especially with Luca Townsend now up in front. So now Cully's having to defend from Owen, and it's going to be for the final few laps. So Luca Townsend, decent drive for him to get into first place. Apparently there's quite a lot that might be having to be looked at afterwards. It's Carl Colley second, third is Jacob, fourth Phil Garside, fifth is Callum Kirkpatrick, sixth is Stephen Cummins, seventh is Newman, then it's Rutherford, Braley, Brandon Roos, Andrew Lawrence and Ashley Field, then it's Ben Verenson, Shane Blighty in 14th, Declan is 15th, 16th, Ali Johnson 17th is Stuart Robson. Black screen, does that mean another disconnect? Could potentially be one of the two that have parked up, so in fact, yes it was. It was Mark Ruddock who was gone now. It could be where he's just parked up, he's decided that's enough is enough and has gone. Disappointed, but you can see, looking at the top of your screen, Callum Kirkpatrick has made 18 places this race. I want to see how many Luca Townsend has made, because I have a feeling that it is 20, which is an amazing drive if he has managed that. But you can see at the moment, leader still Luca Townsend, second behind them is Carl Cully. Really having to defend from Jake Owen. He's been holding him off for quite a while. Owen's going for the outside line. He isn't going to be able to get him around there. Garside just sat behind, is looking like he's getting that little tiny bit of a gap away from Kirkpatrick, so it's really behind them. Apologies, you can see a massive battle going on currently for 6th place, headed by Newman. Newman with, it looks like, Cumming and Braley and Brandon Roos. Ashley Field's a part of this one as well, as is Andrew Lawrence, Nathan Rutherford, all bunching up, and Newman is the cork in this bottle here. If he makes a mistake or goes wide, it'll be interesting to see who can get through. In fact, I think the real issue is going to be behind him. Who's going to make the move on each other? They're all going to be fighting for position behind them, and all that's going to do is allow Newman to keep hold of this 6th place. You can see him thundering down the final stretch as we are on the last lap of the race of the night. Been a hectic race 3. Really unfortunate to see some of the drivers who have been dropped out of this one. It's been a night of a bit of hecticness, in fairness. But yet again, another composed drive from the youngster Luca Townsend, getting away. Made so many places through the race. Sat in first, second is Carl Cully, who's now kind of having to defend, but I think he's going to be able to hold on this one. Was looking for a while like he was going to be the race winner, holding on to first place for a long time. Now he's just having to defend from Jake Owen, who looks content with 3rd place as it stands. Garside 4th, 5th Kirkpatrick, 6th is still Robert Newman. A quality drive from the STR driver. As Braley goes around the outside of him. Braley's trying to get that final position gain that he can do so, and he has. Look like he's made that position move, so really good move there, and just 4 wide going behind them. That's not going to end up well. Ashley Field's just going to tuck in behind, see if he can get through safely. As someone has ended up in the gravel, that's Ashley Field. A real bunch going up for 8th now, as these two have got away slightly. Looks like Stephen Cummins going to hold on to that one, but we go to the front of the grid. Luca Townsend yet again. He won race 1, DNF from race 2, and he's won race 3. Great drive, Luca Townsend yet again. Carl Cully second, third has gone to Jaco, and fourth has gone to Phil Garcia, fifth has gone to Callum Kirkpatrick, sixth is going to go Braley, seventh is going to be to Newman. So looks like Brandon Roos got past, Stephen coming on the line. Andrew Lawrence got 10th, 11th for 11th for Ashley Field, 12th for Nathan Rutherford, 13th for Ben Brenson, 14th is Declan Evans, 15th for Ali Johnson, 16th for Stuart Robinson, 17th for Shane Bellotti, 18th is going to go to Duncan Prime, and 19th and onwards is all a disconnect, unfortunately, or a DNF. So yet again, another head to race faster lap has gone to Luca Townsend yet again. Really showing his pace tonight. Other than his disconnect, that is 3 races that he has finished. Each one he's finished in first place. In the past, out of 4 races, he has 1 DNF and 3 wins. So, can't really argue that one. Carl Cully takes second for what is his second podium of the season. Third has gone to Jake Owen. But his third place of the season, that's going to put him back in the title fight. Garside has gone 4th. Kirkpatrick 5th. After disappointing of race 2, sorry. Jack Braley takes 6th. Got Robert Newman in 7th. It's a really good performance from him. Up until that point, his best finish of the season was a 12th place, which was race 3 at Road Atlanta, so really should be happy with that one. 8th has gone to Brandon Roos. Brandon was Stephen Cumming. Andrew Lawrence. Ashley Field came back in 11th in the end. In 12th. So that is that. Thank you very much for everyone for turning up and watching the racing. I would normally do interviews and that kind of thing, but it's not tonight. Just got other stuff going on tonight. But thank you very much for everyone who turned in, and we'll see you next week. And potentially, actually, I'll say this now, we could potentially be having a stream going on for the F1, the start of the F1 Championship, which will be on Sunday at about 8 o'clock.